In this video, we're breaking down an infield fly situation from a high school baseball game. We've got bases loaded, less than 2 outs, and a pop-up behind the first baseman. So right away, we know this is a situation where an infield fly could apply. On the field, the umpire crew initially rules this as an uncaught fair ball and not an infield fly. The play continues, runners advance, and everything looks normal. But after the play ends, the defensive coach comes out and asks about it. And the plate umpire ends up changing the call to an infield fly. So for this review, we're first going to look at the infield fly rule, and then we'll break down whether or not this should have been an infield fly. After that, we'll review how the situation was handled, along with questions and case plays to help cement your understanding. Hey everyone, Patrick Farber here with GHSA Baseball Umpire Development and Umpire Classroom, where we help umpires develop their knowledge and skills. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe to the channel, and you can find more educational content at umpireclassroom.com. And this lesson is supported by the National Association of Sports Officials, which you can join through the link in the description. Let's get started. Let's start with the definition of infield fly as given in the high school baseball rules. NFHS 2-19. An infield fly is a fair fly, not including a line drive nor an attempted bunt, which can be caught by an infielder with ordinary effort. Rule does not preclude outfielders from being allowed to attempt to make the catch, and provided the hit is made before 2 are out and at a time when first and second bases or all bases are occupied. So let's look at applying that to this situation. We have less than 2 outs and the bases are loaded, so we are good based on the initial situation when the pitch starts. After that, we look at the ball off the bat. It's a fair fly ball and not a line drive or a bunt, so again, we're good there. But the last requirement of the rule is the most important part. Is this a batted ball that could be caught by an infielder with ordinary effort? Real quickly, before diving into that question, I do want to point out that there is no reference to the ball coming down in the infield or outfield in the definition of an infield fly. The key is that an infield fly can technically be anywhere on the field in fair territory and caught by any fielder, so long as it could have been routinely caught by an infielder. Let's look at the play and see if this meets the requirements for ordinary effort. On this play, there are 2 infielders that potentially could make a play on the ball, the first baseman and the second baseman. First, we'll look at the first baseman. He never gets set under the ball. He's consistently drifting, looking up, and struggling to find where the ball will come down. This is clearly not ordinary effort for him, and a hint for this play, or really any trouble ball, is that if the fielder ends up with his back towards the infield, this is not going to be a routine or ordinary play. That's true whether it's an infielder or an outfielder attempting to make any catch. Now, the other fielder to watch here is the second baseman. As we see, he's running pretty hard for the ball the entire time, and at no point does it look like a play he is likely going to make. His hard sprinting tells us this is not simply ordinary effort for him to make this play. So with both those infielders, and of course all the other infielders, unable to make this play with ordinary effort, we can definitively say that this is not an infield fly. So our plate umpire signals the ball fair, and all runners, including the batter runner, advance 1 base. The playing action stops, time is called, and now the defensive head coach comes out to ask about the play. Specifically, he's asking whether this should have been an infield fly. Now, there's nothing wrong with the crew getting together here. If you miss something in real time, it happens. We'll get together to talk through it, that's fine. But there are 2 really important clues in this situation that should immediately tell you this was probably not an infield fly, and these are things you can use in your own games. First, the ball hits the ground. That's your first indicator. If this were truly a ball that could be caught with ordinary effort, it probably would be caught. Not always, but most of the time. So when it drops untouched like this, especially with no infielder intentionally allowing it to drop, that's a strong sign we didn't have ordinary effort. Second, and even more telling, is that this situation has the defense asking for the infield fly. That should immediately raise a red flag. The infield fly rule is never there to benefit the defense. It's there to protect the runners. And the purpose is given to us specifically in the definition. Going back to Rule 2-19, it continues, when it seems apparent that a batted ball will be an infield fly, the umpire immediately announces it for the benefit of the runners. So let's talk about the why behind the rule even existing. The entire purpose of the infield fly rule is to prevent the defense from turning a cheap double play on a batted ball that should only result in one out, the batter. Think about what's happening on a high pop-up. The runners are doing what they're supposed to do. They're retreating back to their bases because they expect the ball will be caught. Without the infield fly rule, the defense could take advantage of that. If a fielder let the ball drop on purpose to pick it up right after, now they've got forced plays at second, third, and potentially home if the bases were loaded. That can turn into an easy double play. That's what the rule is designed to eliminate, and that also explains when the rule applies. Less than 2 outs, first and second, or bases loaded. Because those are the situations where the defense actually has the opportunity to turn that cheap double play. Take runners on first and second. If the shortstop camps under a pop-up, then lets it drop, now he can throw to third for the force out on R2, and then they can throw to second for the force out on R1. That's exactly what we're trying to prevent. Now compare that to a runner on first base only. Same pop-up, same idea, but now even if the ball drops, the defense can probably only get 1 out at second. The batter runner should already be on his way to first and probably beating any attempt for a double play. That's the key. The rule is designed to protect the runners already on base and to prevent a cheap double play on those runners. It's not to protect the batter runner or give the defense a free out. Now bring it back to our play. Every runner advances safely, including the batter runner. So ask yourself, how does calling an infield fly here help the offense? It doesn't. In fact, it would actually hurt them by creating an out that did not exist. So when you see the defense asking for an infield fly and all runners advance safely, that's a really strong indicator you did not have an infield fly on this play. Now, on a play like this, the plate umpire is responsible for the catch-no catch because the ball is near the foul line. And they probably are the umpire most likely to make the infield fly call. That said, either umpire can and should call an infield fly once they identify it. Then, when one umpire calls it, the other should echo the call so everyone on the field hears it. In this situation, either umpire could have declared an infield fly. Neither of them did, and in this case, that was absolutely correct. Now, the coach comes out and he naturally is going to the plate umpire since that's the umpire most likely responsible for the call. That part is fine. But here's where this really matters. If an umpire is even thinking about changing this to an infield fly, whether you're right or wrong, that cannot be done individually. That has to be a crew decision. Because if you didn't call it, your partner didn't call it either. So before you change anything, you've got to get together with your partner and talk through the play, including why both of you originally passed on it and why you think you were both wrong to do so. What happens here instead is the plate umpire essentially takes this one all alone with no crew discussion and no help from their partner, and that's really where this all breaks down. Because if the crew gets together and talks it through, there's a very good chance they'll land on the right decision, which is that this is not an infield fly. So here are the takeaways. 1, any umpire can call an infield fly. 2, if one umpire calls it, all other umpires should echo it. And 3, if it wasn't called and you're thinking about changing it, you must get together as a crew first. So now that we've covered the rules, let's jump into the case plays. Case play number 1. Who does calling an infield fly benefit? A, the batter, B, the runners, C, the defense, D, all of the above. The correct answer is B, the runners. The infield fly rule exists specifically to protect the runners as stated in its definition. It's not there to help the batter, and it's definitely not there to help the defense. It prevents the defense from turning a cheap double play on multiple runners that are forced to retreat on a pop-up. Case play number 2. If the ball lands in the outfield, could it still have been an infield fly? Yes or no? The correct answer here is yes. Location does not matter. What matters is whether the ball could have been caught by an infielder with ordinary effort. If that's true, it can still be an infield fly even if it ends up in the outfield. Case play number 3. In a 2-umpire system, who can call an infield fly hit toward first base? A, the plate umpire, B, the base umpire, C, either umpire. The correct answer is C, either umpire. This is a crew responsibility, and whichever umpire reads it first should call it, and the other umpire should echo the call. And if one umpire freezes or misses it, the other umpire can still step in and make the call. Case play number 4. R2, R1, and 1 out. B1 hits a high pop-up to F6, which could have been caught with ordinary effort. Neither umpire calls out that it is an infield fly. F6 allows the ball to fall untouched to the ground. He then throws to F5, covering third for a force out of R2. F5 then throws to F4, covering second base for a force out of R1. B1 reaches first. Is this A, this is an intentionally dropped ball, return R2 and R1 to second and first respectively, B1 is out. B, this is still an infield fly, return R2 and R1 to second and first bases respectively, B1 is out. C, this is still an infield fly, assuming they were not tagged, R2 and R1 can stay at third and second bases respectively, B1 is out. D, this is not an infield fly since it was not called. R2 and R1 are out on the force outs, ending the inning. The correct answer here is C. This is still an infield fly. First, we'll eliminate option A. You cannot have an intentionally dropped ball on a ball that qualifies as an infield fly. Moving on, the key concept here is that an infield fly is determined by the situation and the nature of the play, not whether the umpire actually calls it. The crew missing the call creates confusion, but it doesn't change what the play is. This should have been called an infield fly, meaning it is an infield fly. That means the batter is out, which removes the force. The runners are now advancing at their own risk. And since they were not tagged, their advances are legal. So the final result is that B1 is out and R2 and R1 remain at third and second. Case play number 5. R3, R1, no outs. B1 hits a high pop-up to F3. The plate umpire calls infield fly if fair. F3 loses the ball in the sun and it lands in fair territory. R3 scores. F3 throws to second and R1 is put out on a force play. B1 is standing on first when the play ends. Is this A, R3 scores, R1 is out, B1 stays at first base? B, R3 scores, R1 is safe at second because he was not tagged, B1 is out. C, R3 is returned to third, R1 is returned to first, B1 is out. D, R3 is returned to third, R1 is safe at second because he was not tagged, B1 is out. E, R3 is returned to third, R1 is awarded second, B1 stays at first. The correct answer here is A. This is an approved ruling from the casebook, and it comes back to the same principle. The players on the field are expected to react to the play, not just what the umpire says. This was not an infield fly. So even though the umpire called it, that doesn't make it one. The ball drops, R3 scores, and R1 is still forced to advance. The defense properly records a force out at second, so the final result is R3 scores, R1 is out, and B1 remains at first. So there you have it. That's our review of this infield fly situation and rules that go along with all potential infield fly calls. If you found this video helpful, be sure to subscribe to the channel, and you can find more umpire educational content at umpireclassroom.com and in Referee Magazine. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you on the field.